Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
You're muted, by the way.
Shit. Shit. That's what happens when you've been away for 2 weeks, all right?
Well, you know, a little rusty. It's fine.
A little rusty.
Boogie, boogie.
I'm back. Made it. Sorry, guys. I want to apologize to everybody because I had to close the store down.
Priorities.
I had to do some extra stuff. So it is what it is, but we're here now, and that's what matters, right? Right.
Exactly. Exactly. So I told them how my week was. How was your week?
My 2 weeks that we've been away.
Oh yeah, it was 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks. It's been weird.
Oh yeah,
been very weird. I've been in this mood lately. I don't know. I'll explain. I guess maybe I'll explain it. We'll go back. So
you know, Dave, some people have periods too.
Men have periods.
Hey, I believe
they really do. It's just called something different. So it all started with Kickstarter. I finally decided, we're gonna do this Kickstarter. Decided this like 3 weeks ago, literally.
And Facebook fucked you. What?
I scheduled it to launch, and Facebook reprimanded me for something from 2 years ago.
So stupid.
And it restricted me the day before my Kickstarter launched. And I wasn't getting the foot traffic because of, my hands were tied with advertising. Like I couldn't share shit. People weren't seeing any of my posts, and there was no foot traffic to the Kickstarter. I mean, there's like 3 people that donated for it, and I'm like, this is not going to work.
It's not going to go anywhere, unfortunately.
No, so I went ahead and axed that. Like maybe later down the road, we'll kick the can down the road.
You're not restricted.
Yeah, we might see what happens. So decided to scrap that. Started up something new, something that should have been done a long time ago. The Paratainment review. And you said you alluded to this, talked a little bit about it earlier. Basically, what I decided was, you know what? Over the last 7-8 years, maybe more, I've been vocal about like these shows and stuff like that, the Paratainment world, and people listen when I talk about that shit. Like people really listen, and at one point I felt like I was the person to talk about it, and everybody wanted me to talk about it. I would literally go on other podcasts, and there would be people in the chat asking me about this stuff, and I'm like, well, if you really want my honest opinion, there it is. And so anyway, I was like, this is about time it comes out. So I'm now going to be the guy that reviews the shows on YouTube, Discovery Plus, things like that. Opening the door. They're getting my honest review. And, some of the people that I've talked to, like Josh Kelly, I've seen that. Josh.
I haven't seen that. That's awesome.
Josh was actually very excited for me. He was like, whenever I told him this is what I was wanting to do.
Tell me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, his words were fucking do it.
In the true Josh manner, fucking do it. Yes.
Fucking do it. And
he does like to add yes to a lot of things, which is good.
Yes. So got his blessing on it. Aaron Thompson, I told him I was going to do it, and he's like, dude, that's awesome. He's like, just be gentle when you come to me. when it comes to my shows. I'm like, don't worry, you were just a cameraman on 28 days.
Yeah. Yes. Save
So-
him from the harshness. No.
Yeah, it's like, look, you got lucky. You didn't get a whole lot of screen time, buddy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But anyways,
But I am gonna give my
God.
honest appraisal to these shows. It's whether they deserve it. That's up to me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
we all have our own opinions, right? With you investigating for as long as you have been, I feel like it's going to be pretty, I don't know, easy or just commonplace to kind of pick up on the teams or what have you that are just kind of like, why would you do that?
This is how easy it is. I did a live announcing this here on Boogeyman and on Haunting History, and just for practice or shits and giggles, I went to Paraflix, and we were watching a few trailers from some of the shows on Paraflix. One of the trailers, I spotted something instantly. I had to go back and I paused the screen. I was like, does anybody see what's wrong with this? Dude had a K2 meter.
Was he holding the top?
He had his thumb on the button.
Mm.
And I'm like,
you can't do that now.
This is the kind of crap.
I think it's best just to put the K2s down. Put them down. Like if you're going to use them,
retire them,
push it, put it down. Done.
No, let's just retire them.
You think so? Just done?
Yes, it's the sensor that's in them. That's the worst part about it.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because it'll pick up your cell phone signals. It'll pick up
I see that. I do remember
CB
that.
radio, walkies, like everything. Yeah. It picks it up.
So what would you? Who would you? So let me throw you out there. Let me throw it out there then. What EMF? What are your two EMF devices that you would trust?
EDI.
That you saw people using. Okay, EDI. Good call.
And I like the Mel because honestly, the Mel gives you a direct readout. So
True.
And I like the function on it that a lot of people don't realize is even there, is that record function.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Because I mean, I can set it stationary, set it to record, walk away all night, come back and see if there's any EMF spikes or any temperature spikes.
You know, speaking of different tech and stuff, I kind of did like a little deep dive on the obelisks today, and I did not realize how many different versions or styles they have.
Yeah, the 3 is like
It's
my
crazy.
favorite. It's probably the
3?
Best one.
Yeah. That's
One
so far,
first,
I would say that one's my favorite too. Like that's, as far as all the ones that they have, to me that seemed like it had the best amount of evidence caught with it, or the best amount of instances.
Well, what Rick Rose and I caught out of Malvern after the fighting thing, all those obelisk hits that we got were right after that, and it was literally one right after another, and they all made sense.
So there you go.
And like one of the coolest ones was like Rick felt this breeze go through his legs, and the next thing the obelisk says is feel. So
So what's the small one with the 2 antennas on the top?
that's the obelisk 5, I believe.
So I know it spits out several words like it can, but the last time that I was down at Garnett, it was hitting some really interesting like points there.
Yeah.
Like saying some words that are very specifically detailed to a certain something that haunts the location. And I was just like, oh, okay. And that was the first time I think I ever saw that device like that really close.
Right.
So, but yeah, I agree with you on the EDI and Mel for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So yeah, I just recorded the first video for Paratainment Review.
Beautiful.
And I will say this. It took me 2 days to do the video.
Nice.
Because halfway through, about 30 minutes into it, I realized that his video was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
To be
about
fair,
an hour
though,
in, I was about to fall asleep. I was like,
to be fair, though, isn't this a lot easier than having to drive miles away, stay the night somewhere?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They have to do a lot of tech setup and stuff like that. Like, and then you have to review all that footage. No, you just watch something and then edit your clips.
Yeah, just cut it up.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's gonna be an edited version. Like for those of you that are going to be on the channel, like the videos that are going to be on there are going to be cut up. So it's like you're not watching the 2 hours. You're just going to watch parts that I'm commenting on. Because there's a lot of that time I'm just like,
Now, so are you gonna do this specifically on Paraflix because they're kind of like an open source and they can't document?
No.
Or?
It's gonna be YouTube shows, Paraflix, Discovery,
Cool.
like all the shows that are out there.
If you can do Amazon Prime, I do that one too. There's some stuff on Amazon Prime as well.
I'm kicking myself in the butt because I'm gonna have to get a Paraflix account, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to support it, but
yeah, but you gotta support
me.
I was gonna say it's gonna support your channel. Exactly.
Unfortunately, my channel's not gonna be monetized, so.
Really, you're not gonna monetize it?
I can't. I don't have 1,000 subscribers.
Right, exactly.
You gotta have 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have like 4,000 watch time hours in a month, and it's got 160 something subs.
I got you. Interesting.
But
well,
it is going to be interesting, and
I can't wait.
So yeah, that now when I was talking about my mood, like Easter, I think the day before Easter, but is when it started. But like Easter really just kind of set this off. I didn't have my daughter for Easter.
Like you just
I just went for a drive. I woke up, got in my car, and I just went driving for like
sometimes
4
that's
hours.
the best though. And Easter was a gorgeous day.
Easter was awesome.
Yeah.
But like
it was so beautiful up here.
But like the drive was okay. I didn't go too terribly far. But
sometimes that's the best though, is just being able to go on a drive, get your head cleared. It's great.
Didn't even set a location. I just went to random town.
That's what I do with my bike, man. That's just I literally pick a direction and just go, and then I'll find my way back whenever I decide I want to turn around.
You see a road that turns off, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this road looks interesting. Just like
found a cemetery. Cemetery
nice.
Had a nice headstone, said Dick on it, and I was like, somebody's already plotting my death.
Somebody knew.
And then it was an interesting cemetery too. It was like 3 tiers on the mountain. Like they did 3 levels to it. It's really cool.
Weird.
But drove back, and then I just did a bunch of house cleaning. So that was my
nothing wrong with that. Spring cleaning.
Yeah,
that's what I need to do.
And of course, Facebook nailed me again.
Bastards. What is it this time?
Because whenever I announced Paratainment Review, everybody's getting all excited, and I was excited too, and I put in the comment section, let's burn this MFer down.
Oh my God, Dave, you can't say stuff like that on Facebook.
And then they got me for inciting violence.
The Facebook police strikes again.
So now I have my Twitter account, David Glidden 22.
Good. I think that's a very smart move. There's big things coming to Twitter in the future.
Yes.
Anyways.
So guys, hit me up on Twitter. Go follow me.
If you have a Twitter.
Nice Twitters.
Ooh. Anyways. So as we tried the last time to talk about Civil War things, we talked about I talked about some stories. We talked about some Civil War haunted locations. Now let's actually get into the juiciness.
Buttholes, juiciness, huh?
Well,
what timing?
You missed it. I missed last show. I was like, we're gonna get into the thick and juicy of it, and Cassie's just like thick and juicy in the comments.
Oh yeah,
just a callback to. But we're gonna So, what do we want to start off with? What do you? I know you got some ghostly stuff you want to talk about, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about Newtonia. Like this is. Let's just encapsulate all the battlefields and stuff like that. Civil War history literally was the antithesis of like drama and fucking like, horrible energy. Negative and positive energy, I guess you could say. But like the amount of energy from the battles, from the even just going home, soldiers going home, the hospitals, all that. There is no reason why these battlefields would not be haunted. If you're a theoretical person, like if you think about theories of hauntings and stuff like that, and you believe emotions can create residual energies, residual hauntings. And then, of course, people that didn't know they got shot in the head or something, they're like, well, I'm still here. Where's everybody else? Everybody living the Groundhog Day. But like there's no reason why that wouldn't happen at pretty much all these battle sites. Like there's
Yeah.
so many deaths, right?
Oh,
Yes, Kelly, absolutely.
what was I watching? I was watching a video today where there was one place that was a hospital that they claimed that as many, it might have been Gettysburg, I'm not quite sure, or it was Manassas. They claimed that one of the buildings, that in one section of this building, there were so many limbs stacked high that it reached like to the ceiling.
I believe it. There was,
Like,
I
holy
think
cow.
this was either in Tennessee or Kentucky. There was a battlefield. There was a house that got used as a field hospital. They said they threw so many body parts out the second floor window that it almost reached the second floor window.
Wow. That's crazy. Like,
but there's probably some bodies in there too. Like,
well, and I've never, so when I was watching some stuff earlier, you kind of get a grasp of the, like, you clearly know how bullets whistle in today's world, right?
Yeah.
The whizzing and whistles of the bullets back then were pretty, like, nuts. And if you could hear them coming, I would be so terrified, because the amount of damage that those bullets would have done.
or even the cannons, the cannonballs.
Oh, yeah. God.
That whirl.
Yeah. It just, you were all, like, obviously you get your flanks, and then you just hope you're not wiped out with the rest of your crew. Like, you're all just standing in a line trying, like,
It's funny. I was watching The Patriot last night.
Great movie.
And it just got me thinking about, like, I started putting myself in that place. Like, man, can you imagine being like a time traveler, going back to that era with like a fucking M16 and just or a 50 caliber Arctic.
Real quick. I hear you. Someone would win real quick.
Be out there with an Arctic 50 cal. Just tell everybody, hold back. I got this.
You have to bring
it
like right, just like, what does he have? He's a demon or some shit. You know what I mean?
Staff. What is that?
What is that? It's my boomstick. But
yeah, I'll just hang out in the tree line, guys. We'll take care of this. Be back there, or just come flying out of the wood line while they're like marching together. Just come flying out the middle with a freaking tank.
You'd have to stay hidden.
God.
Like, there's no way you'd be able to reveal yourself with that kind of technology, because then it would completely change the time.
Be in a ghillie suit.
Oh, there
sniping.
You go. That's a good idea. But then you got to really watch out for random cannon fire.
Yeah, but if you're from a good distance, I mean,
I was gonna say also, if you're kind of off to the side of the battlefield, like if let's say two are going at it like this, right? If you're off to like one of these, like this side or the other side, you'd be fine.
You know what I'd be trying to do? Line up 3 at a time, get like triple shot kills, like one shot, kill 3 people.
But you'd have a glare on your scope, and they'd be like, "What's that?" Like,
it's an angel.
Yeah, right. Well, I didn't realize how
many
battles. Right. I didn't realize how many battles took place at night, like just like night skirmishes.
Yeah,
it's just pretty crazy.
There was a lot of brutality with the Civil War as well, and I think that's something that kind of plays into the whole paranormal thing, because like, just think of how many men, like how their minds turned.
Yeah,
at that time,
just
like,
animalistic, just
kill
all, or you know what I mean, kill all or you die.
Like, they were probably nice family men. The war broke out, they joined it, and 1 year into it, they're like,
you do what you got to do, right? To sacrifice, to have freedom for the next generation. And that's unfortunately that's what it's about, man. It's like, for us to have a country that is free, the people alive currently have to sacrifice their time for the future generations. And so that's why, to me, it upsets me so much. And I will say this, it upsets me so much when people kneel to the national anthem, because they don't understand or appreciate, to me, the history, the gravity of those people's lives that is based off of those moments.
How brutal those wars were.
Yes.
It's not like you're, calling shots from a command center. You're on the field trying to call shots.
Like, I obviously still respect all the lives that are lost, even if they were from the South. Like, they put on, like, they sacrificed their life for what they believed in. That takes a lot. And I mean,
Yeah.
do I think that certain ideals of the South were horrible? Well, yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. That doesn't mean that like, there's still American lives, right?
And the other thing is the Civil War was about other things other than
just
slavery.
Yes, exactly.
The cotton industry was a big
tobacco
provider.
industry too.
But yeah, with the brutality of the Civil War, how could these places not be haunted?
Right.
You know?
Well, I was telling everybody else earlier, like I mentioned that with all their adrenaline, with all their energy, with that blood just gets pumping, right? Those people's bloods, they're in the floor. They're in the ground. It's in the soil. How could that not? Because we're energy, right? So that energy is just a type of transference. It's going back to nature. How would that not?
You ever wonder, like,
a thing, right?
If somebody's blood gets soaked up by, like, say, trees, you know how trees and plants will use the water out of the ground. Do you ever wonder if, like, the blood like gets soaked up into these plants?
Probably, because there's water in blood, so why not?
Yeah. So
the
like
tree's going to still soak up. Like if you put soda water on a tree, or around the ground of the tree, it's still going to soak up the liquid.
Yeah,
like it's going to get as much water and liquid out of it as it can.
So just think about all these old trees that are out at these places. Like, man, those trees were there. They probably fed off of people.
Dude, think about hanging trees.
Yeah,
people just snap, gone right there, that instant. Like, yeah, I know the rope doesn't have energetic connection, but maybe it does. You never know.
So,
but,
down here in the 4-state region, basically, like, there's a lot of Civil War history. Really brutal stuff. I mean, you had the Kansas border wars.
Yep.
You know,
constant, which was pre the Civil War. I mean, like it's
border
pretty much
wars.
What started the Civil War, honestly.
There's stuff that's happened around here that people don't know about, like in Joplin, or just north of Joplin. There was an entirely black regiment, and the Confederates massacred them. And the Union showed up, found the bodies and the places being burnt down and stuff, and they went after the Confederates and took them out. So, like, there's like a memorial in Joplin about it. But not a lot of people know about this happening.
Yeah.
One of the places that I had found, one of my favorite investigations, and probably like one of the few places I would ever investigate outdoors, was in Newtonia, which is it's probably about 15 minutes outside of Neosho, Missouri.
Okay.
So Newtonia was a battlefield, site of 3 battles, actually 3 skirmishes, 2 of them major. One of them was a minor skirmish. There is a place out there called the Ritchie Mansion, which the Ritchie family, they had this mansion. They had a big rock barn during the Civil War. Some of the skirmishes happened right there in front of the building, the house. The house got riddled with bullets, even took cannon fire. You can actually see where they replaced the brick. Wow. But during the battles, the house and the barn were both used as field hospitals. And in the house, there's a room where the floors are painted black because they couldn't get the blood stains out. There was so much blood up there. They just painted it all black. It's an amazing place to visit. There's also a Civil War cemetery that's kind of hidden in the woods. It sounds like 150 people.
Now, have you heard? Sorry, are you still have more of your story before I get into it?
Oh yeah, I got way more because I got evidence and stuff.
Okay, so real quick then, have you heard of, like, if they couldn't get headstones? Have you heard of soldiers burying or people burying soldiers with just giant boulders or giant rocks? Okay. Yeah. I was telling them about a story that my mom told me when she was little. She visited her grandparents, and across the street, this is down by like Nevada, Missouri, like in the deep woods. Yeah. Very, very southern country of, I think, Missouri. Like, you had some very strong opinions of those people down there. Anyways, across the street was a bunch of boulders that would be, they actually had like slash marks in them for like details and stuff. But yeah, that I didn't really know about that. Like, they don't really teach you that in school. It was more of just like, oh yeah, your Civil War graves and their headstones and all that kind of stuff. No, they don't teach about mass burials of giant boulders.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if you think about it, you know, they were basically on the road,
Yeah,
the entire time. So
absolutely.
like, they weren't going to set up like a cemetery style and just like chisel out headstones and stuff. No, they were
No,
just
it's
going
just
to
like, all right, well, here's a hole. Let's yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought about maybe going back down there and checking it out because I know exactly where it's at. So I thought about going back down and checking it out. And, like, yeah, that would be sweet if I can get permission to be on that land. But
yeah,
people that south are weird.
Yeah. Like, well, you know,
in Missouri, anyways.
In Avila, Missouri.
I've heard of Avila. Yeah.
Some wild Civil War history there too, but people don't know about it.
Yeah.
That's another one I kind of tried to bring out. I actually talked to Expedition X.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were wanting to do something on the town of Avila and the Shadow People.
Oh,
and
wow.
because I had put out the episode on Avila, they contacted me, and it was funny. I went around and I'd set up all the things they needed, like the investigation spots. I set up all the interviews, had everything ready to go, and they decided that they were going to go with something else. So I almost made it to season 3 of Expedition X, which would have been cool.
Was that on A&E?
Expedition X is Discovery.
Did you do a haunting history episode on that place, David? I remember one about 11 soldiers getting killed on a hillside.
Okay, that's a different place, but yes, I did an episode. I thought about, if we were going to do the After Dark, I was actually going to show the episode because, like, although it wasn't part of a season, I did release a video on it.
Yeah.
And it did pretty well for not being a season show. Like, it was just a video. It's got like 13,000 views.
Nice.
But it's got all this evidence that I'll be showing, plus some more, because we did an investigation and stuff. But
that's pretty cool.
No, and there was a lot of brutality to Newtonia, mainly because of Robert Christian, who I can't remember his rank. I want to say he was a lieutenant for the Union, I believe.
Okay.
This guy was a bastard and a half.
Oh.
This is what we're talking about when we say you're in it for so long you just get all twisted. Mm-hmm. This guy was twisted. He would literally scalp people, like while they're alive. Like, he would scalp them. He was very brutal. He would ride into Newtonia periodically, trying to find Southern soldiers because a lot of them came from. A lot of Newtonia was Southern. What is it called? Like they sided with the South. So he would always like threaten the women and children and beat them and trying to get information out of them. And so whenever there was like, I think 5 or 6 Southern soldiers from Newtonia who came back, but they hid out in the woods up on a hill. And one of them was sick, but they would ride into town at night, get, stuff like food and whatever, provisions, and go back to their campsite. Well, Robert Christian found out about it, rode out there, lined all like 5 of them up on the hillside, executed them. The guy that was sick and in bed, they just shot him to death in bed. It was pretty brutal. And then one of the guys that he killed, that guy's son, ended up killing Robert Christian. But before Robert Christian had died, his son scalped him and then drug him through the streets of Newtonia by horseback. True story. Jeez. And Robert Christian is buried out in that Civil War cemetery too.
Really?
Yeah. So like I said, I've got a haunting history video on Newtonia that's going to feature some of the evidence I'm going to play for you guys. But I want to talk about that cemetery that we investigated, and I've been investigating there for quite a while. So some of the cool things one of the coolest things I think I've noticed about this place was there was some intelligent haunting happening, and then there was some residual stuff happening. And you were talking about the sound of guns and stuff like that. And one thing we would actually capture out there was gunfire and cannon fire. And this clip I'm going to play is actually one of the gunshots. Mind you, this clip is like almost 15 years old.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it got cut off pretty quick. All right.
Try a different part.
Yeah.
It's going to loop.
Part.
Yeah.
Try a different part.
Powder.
Yeah.
Try a different part.
Yeah.
Try a different part.
Yeah.
So, like, if
Yeah.
with that sound amplified and everything, you would actually hear like the fizz behind it, like before they
I
launch.
can hear it. I can still hear it. I can still hear that light up of the gunpowder. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was telling them about a cannon fire. So I was out at a place. It was outside of Peculiar, Missouri, and it somehow survived the burn order. And I was just outside doing an EVP session or doing a session. Yeah, I know you hate that. And I swear, when I go back and listen to it, it sounds like a gunshot, right? And I would have heard that plain as day for being as loud as it was on the recording. So a friend of mine who I would consider is an expert on guns in the Civil War, I took the audio to him, and he immediately goes, "That's a cannon." I'm like, "A cannon? What do you mean that's a cannon? It just sounds like a gunshot. You think that's a cannon shot?" He's like, "Absolutely." Because of the low rumble of the shot, and then the cannon kind of like, you know how when it shoots, it kind of shoots, like it kind of forces upwards and then slams back down to the ground. He said it had that initial shock of hitting the ground too. And I was just like, oh my God, did I just freaking catch a cannon on a recording? And if I wish I had that old recording, but it was on my old hard drive, which just the computer gave out. It stopped working.
It's funny you say that because there in Newtonia, one night I took my mom out there because she'd never been there. And of course my mom's interested in the paranormal stuff too.
Yeah.
And, so we took her out there as well while we were investigating. Twice we heard what sounded like a cannon fire. Like we heard it with our own ears. It sounded like you heard the boom.
Because it's so low and loud.
Yeah, it was low, loud, and it sounded like it just rumbled across the sky. We had it on recording. I don't know where the recording went. It was a long time ago. But we heard that. I've actually got audio of cannon out there, though, in the video. Awesome. But we also, like I said, had some rather intelligent stuff come up too. Yeah. One of my favorite EVPs captured. And I think this is the first time my name was ever said on audio. And this had me so excited. So I'm going to play this for you guys too. All the voices in here were not heard by us. So, and this was captured on an Olympus. I'll let it play again.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. And, I obviously didn't know I captured that till after we got home and things like that. I was beyond excited for that.
That's a really clear whisper.
Yeah. And just think of how close that had to have been to the recorder, which typically I would either set it on a headstone and stand by it, or I would carry it with me. This next one, we captured what we think is a name.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just going to play it, and you guys can tell me what you think it says.
What?
I'll loop it.
Oh, I hear it. I think I know what it is.
What do you think it is?
Harvey.
Or do you want to wait till...
Oh, said it already. Sorry.
What did you say?
Harvey.
Harvey?
Sounds like it says Harvey.
What do you guys think? Let's see some comments.
Let's get it. Oh, but Josh was telling the story earlier that he went to the Duff Green Mansion in where was it? Fudge Muffins. I can't remember. Some other.
Minnesota?
Anyways, I don't know. Can't remember. He commented on the other show, and he said that they caught something, or they heard something saying, "I went down on the other side of the river." And they were investigating next to a river on a battlefield, and like that means he would have died on the other side of the river.
Got
Like,
shot down there.
that, yeah, probably. And he did say that the battle commenced across the river, across both sides of the river. Kelly says she heard Harvey as well.
That's yeah, Harvey is what I think it says. It could be Harvey or Hardy. Could be his last name, Hardy. Hardy. Or maybe it's saying heartbeat.
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 Harvey's. Where's the beat?
But so yeah, with Newtonia was wild, man. It was a wild place.
Sounds like it. Sounds like I need to make a trip down there.
We've even captured audio out of the Ritchie Mansion, which
Nice.
Up until recently you couldn't investigate in there, but somebody who I despise has control on that place now. Yeah,
I know. Sucks when all the places close to you is being in control of somebody that you don't like.
well, they never. Here's the thing about Newtonia and the Ritchie Mansion is it's so far in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's heard of it. Nobody, even locals, don't even know that it's there.
Wow.
That's the bizarre thing.
It's pretty wild.
So, like, I'd been trying for years to get in that place to do an investigation and to help, like, kind of promote the place and push it out there, do events out there or something. They wouldn't. They didn't want to have anything to do with the paranormal stuff.
Stonewalling, yay.
Oh yeah. For the better part of 10 years.
That's insane.
And then all of a sudden,
Saying they could help out the location. Just saying.
yeah.
Good.
Anyway.
Fun. Raise funds to make the place better.
That's what I wanted to do. But
But,
it don't always work out that way.
yeah. It's unfortunate that, eventually find more later on.
But yeah, we really got a good EVP out of that Ritchie Mansion, though. Like,
You know what I
it
was...
was intelligent, too.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about this. If I was an owner of a old historic building in any big, like, city, whatever, and it was either like apartments, a church, what have you, I don't know, just something.
Yeah.
I would turn that into an Airbnb, like
Right.
like a haunted Airbnb, or just a haunted location, what have you, and then just sell it constantly. Keep the place booked. Keep it going.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what everybody does anyway.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, like, on a grander scale, or if it's like a big apartment complex that's been there for, I don't know, years and years, I would do something like that. Make one of those apartment buildings, or 2 or 3 of them, like your haunted locations. Like, it'd be more than, to me, it's more than just a hotel. There's more to it. Like,
The problem with that is, like, having other guests there while people are trying to investigate.
that's true. Yeah, you can't help that. But what are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do? That's
Just by the crescent.
it's any, well, I wish I could. You know how
Just by the
awesome-
crescent.
Dude, you know how awesome that would be to buy the Crescent?
Oh,
Just
my God.
the first night that I actually owned the Crescent, everybody out.
Good God.
Literally just
Woo-hoo.
leave.
Your money
Everyone
will be refunded.
Literally leave. Literally everyone leave.
We are going to be closing down for said date for.
We are going to be closing down for like 2 days or 3 days. And like, could you imagine though?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing to own the Crescent Hotel.
Have like a lockdown time. Everybody has to be in their rooms
Oh,
by 11 p.m. and you cannot make any noise. We have quiet time,
sure. I don't know about
so you can
that.
go around and investigate without getting like.
What I would do, I'd probably close the hotel for like, I don't know, a month, maybe less, probably 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks, a week, maybe a week.
Maybe a week.
Close the hotel for just a week. 1 week out of the year for repairs. And just have the place.
We seem to be
myself.
having a problem with unexpected guests.
Yes. And I would just go full lockdown mode on that place for an entire week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? Like that literally just completely enhances your chances of something actually happening.
Yeah. Now, sticking with the paranormal or Civil War thing, like we did investigate the Maria's Singe massacre. I can remember the name of it. The massacre site where 11 people were shot on a hillside.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, I'll tell you something else too. Sorry.
Problem with that whole investigation was it started raining and like it was hard to hear stuff.
Yeah.
But I did hear. This is what was crazy. Like we heard what sounded like gunshots, but it would like happen off in the distance when I asked it to happen.
Oh, nice.
It's crazy. It's on camera. I don't know, like playing it through this, like if we would even be able to hear it. But
probably not.
It was interesting, man. Like it's pretty wild.
I like I said, I want to go out to more places and travel around and check stuff out. But this is pretty cool. So where I'm from is actually I wouldn't say it happened during the Civil War, but it was pretty close. I'm pretty sure it was done by bushwhackers or vice versa. I can't remember the entire story. But there's this little town, no longer exists. It was called Morristown. And,
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And so what it was this.
Isn't that the area where we went? We went to the historical society and.
No, they don't have a historical society.
Okay.
That was Belton. We went to Belton.
Okay.
That's where we went. But Belton's far. Like, if you ever want to go to the site of Morristown when you're down here, I'll gladly take you down there. It's actually down by where I'm from. There's not really much to go walk around. You just kind of drive through. But I'll have to show you that video. Did you hear something up on your camper?
No. I was checking something.
Okay. If there is a video I want to show you on Morristown, though, we should actually. I want to show it sometime. We can just show it to the whole group. But anyways, this group of people came. These soldiers came in and completely cleared this town out. And I mean, completely cleared the town out.
Damn.
And pushed them into the back of a ravine and massacred all of them in this hillside. Yeah, well, these people were down here trying to like I wouldn't say it was to the extent of which war was it where there was just like people were on top of the hill and just was it Bunker Hill?
I don't know.
Whatever. Okay. Anyways, there is a place not too far from where I grew up of this, and I would love if I could get into that woods area because there's no houses, there's no buildings, there's nothing there. I mean, there are some houses close by, but down in the ravine where they were all just killed, I would love to check that place out. My gosh.
Avila, Missouri, they had the town's first doctor, Dr. Stemmons.
Okay.
And while he was there, he set up the Avila militia. Avila was very pro-union. And they actually, one night, were having a meeting at Dr. Stemmons' house. Some Confederate guerrillas knew about it. They showed up. They set the house on fire and then shot anybody who came out of the house. So, like, I think it was about 26 people died. 2 of the people they took to Springfield and let them go there for some reason. But they killed like 26 people by burning this house down and shooting anybody that came out of it. Whenever we were initially doing that, like we were doing a story with KY3 News, when we were initially doing that story, we found where Dr. Stemmons' house was, and we found the Stemmons family cemetery right next to where the house was. Like, it's in the middle of a cornfield. And now there's a house on the property, but like the original Stemmons barn, a lot of that wood was used in the house.
Oh, wow.
Like they built like the house using certain features that were used from the barn wood.
Yeah.
Especially like this big ass beam that for the center beam on the house. Like, yeah, massive beam. The well house was still there and all that. But It was interesting. It was interesting to learn about, like, just learning all that. I had no idea about Villa.
Yeah.
I just thought, well, there's shadow figures that people see
Yeah.
around town and stuff like that. Yada
No,
yada
there's
yada.
full on like
But there's some
history
brutal ass history.
Yeah.
The history of, and because of that, that's where the legend of Rotten Johnny Reb comes into play, where they captured a rebel soldier and they cut his head off and they hung it from a tree, an apple tree in the orchards, to warn off any Confederate soldiers.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then we also found out that down by the river somewhere, there is a Confederate cemetery.
Yeah.
It's a burial spot of, like, they said, I think about 15 Confederates are buried right by the river down there.
Wow.
But I never found it. We didn't go hiking. We would have had to go, like, down the river and try to find it and stuff. But
which is tough. I get that.
Yeah. It was, dude, the history around here, especially those parts, the border of Kansas and Missouri, like, the history is
Cassie was saying in the last video that she wants to do going down the state line of Missouri and Kansas and hit up all the sites, just to go. So I told her about Osawatomie, which is where the cabin of John Brown is. It's a neat little little historical thing. It's basically just like a friggin' log cabin inside of another building, and it's. I can't remember if it was a relative that he stayed with for a while, and it was actually their cabin, and him and his son stayed there. But it does, like, this is one of the stops where he actually lived for a while, and it was really neat. Checking it out. It's a nice bike ride too. I mean, also, it's not too far from Garnett going up 169, I think. But it is a cool little historical mark. Dude, let me know, like, Cassie, please let me know what you find. Like, I will gladly hit these places up too, because I want to do kind of the same thing. I told Dave that this summer I want to do some trips and go see some Civil War or just anything historical, really, like that.
Well, Parsons, Kansas had the Bloody Benders. But if you go to Cherryvale, Kansas, to the museum there, they actually have the hammers from the Bloody Benders, the ones that they used, what they found at the house.
That's awesome.
They have those on display. So, and when we stopped there, we were going to do an episode on the Bloody Benders.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like there's a farmer that owns that property, and he farms the land where the house was and the bodies were found. But the lady there at the museum, she was really nice about it, but she opened up the exhibit and pulled out the hammers for us and stuff. Like, I was like, cool. Dude, there is nothing. I kid you not. There is nothing like being able to hold a piece of history like that, whether it was used to kill somebody or whatever, but like, you're holding something that somebody held like 100 years ago, held and did something of relevance.
Yeah. Dude, I feel that when I hold my freaking like old rifle that's been given like to me from passed down to the family. Like, I'm just like, God, this thing's seen some miles.
It's part of the beauty of going to these locations. Like, you grab the door handle, you look at the door handle, and it's like I know, man, the hands that have touched this.
I can't remember who, but I know somebody, a friend of mine, relative, someone who has a shotgun from like their great grandfather, and it's a double barrel. Like, this thing still work? Yeah, probably, but you don't want to shoot it just in case it falls apart. You know what I mean? Like, it just that's cool at how like living history can still survive.
Yeah, and I get like how people can have the like. There's I forget what they call it. It's not psychokinesis. I don't think it's where you touch objects and you can see things.
See it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm not surprised that there's people that can see that, because like sometimes I feel like I can feel the history.
It's important. Like, you just feel it. It's like, whoa.
You just know.
Yeah.
It's like walking into the crescent. You just feel it.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Right on you.
Like the outside, because it's been done up so much, you don't really feel that. But as soon as you get inside those walls, you're stepping back in time. And like I told you, when I was there with you, I just can't help but see like all the older people dressed in all the old garb, all the Victorian style clothes, just walking through with their couples, their loved ones, what have you. Like, I just can't help but see that. And it's the same going to these battlefields. I was telling them when I went to Pea Ridge over by Eureka, like it's so quiet there. It seems like you can hear the guns and yelling and moans like so prevalently because it's so quiet with just animal sounds, obviously, because everything's so far away from normal city life. It's a peaceful quiet, but it's also a loud quiet. To me, it's almost deafening when you sit there and put yourself.
Next time you come down, we'll try to go out there, see if they have that house open, so you can take a look inside the house. I've been in there; it's really cramped though. But like the guy that was there telling the stories, he was telling us that when the war was happening, they took the family and they put them down in the basement. But while they're in the basement, they're using the house as a hospital.
Oh,
and all the blood was just dripping through the floor on the family. Like there was so much blood. It was just pouring through the floor.
Talk about a real nightmare.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to be here, guys. Can we just go up to the attic?
Yeah, I think they were almost closing like by the time that I got there. So I was just like, I'm not going to worry about like stopping and seeing everything.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of drive on through on my bike, which was kind of cool, riding my bike through a damn battlefield. That was awesome. Like there were no cars behind me. There was nobody in front of me. I just took my sweet time just going through this battlefield. So all you hear for however long it takes going on the course is just my loud freaking bike. Like going through this battlefield. No longer peace and quiet, of course. Like,
oh, so peaceful out here. You can almost hear the horses get apart.
I turn off my bike in a few key spots, like the lookout especially, and then one part where you're just kind of are you sure it's just not the sound of your motorcycle replaying in your ear?
What?
After you turn it off, exactly.
I can't hear you. My motorcycle's really loud.
But I mean, it was still awesome, though. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. I've been to a couple others, but yeah, I'll definitely let you know the next time I'm back down there.
That would be cool.
I was hoping to go sometime east, but
that would be a cool trip. Is just hitting up a bunch of different battlefields.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I did that on purpose. I was trying to get down there to Pea Ridge like as soon as possible because I wanted to go to hit that battle site up before continuing on with my adventure. But yeah, that would be an amazing trip. Just
so far, like as far as like just visiting battlefields, the one up in
you gonna say Lexington?
Yes, one in Lexington was actually pretty nice.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
and with how close the river is, with how close the battles were, I guarantee there's something. There's got to be something there. Got to be.
Yeah.
Because of that house being a hospital.
You know, anybody that lived, maybe we should reach out to Lori and them because, you know, although to be on this actual state park, you would supposed to have a ranger or whatever, somebody there with you. But on the top of the hill where the battle actually took place, there's just a parking lot up there.
Yeah, you're right.
Just go in the parking lot and just chill and just listen and watch.
I like that.
I wonder if that'd be. I bet that would be all right.
There might have been a gate. Well, no, because the hospital was right there. So there's no way they should have had a gate. That was an open road.
Yeah, there was a parking lot, kind of a parking lot thing there.
I wonder if there was like a timed, like no people here past blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know, but I would definitely like to go hit up that park again, though.
What is it? The Anderson House, or
yeah.
I want to be in there for like 3 nights.
Yeah, holy
3
shit,
nights.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, we need to go up there anyways because Haunted Souls is having something in May. I can't go to that one, but the one in September. Oh my gosh! Random thought: Avenged Sevenfold, Falling in Reverse, September 26th.
26th.
What? I think it's 26th or 28th here.
I saw your post. So.
Yeah, one of the two. I was just like, oh my god.
I think in July, July's got June or July. I think it's Disturbed, Ginger. I can't remember the other band. Another good band, but yeah.
But
I'm gonna try to get
anyway. I want to get hit up at concerts too. But yeah. So I did want to talk about before we get out of here. We got about 5 minutes. I do want to talk about the Battle of Westport, because the Battle of Westport is known as the Wexington. Wow,
Well, Wesley Wabbits.
exactly. And it wasn't even what I was trying to think of. It is known as the Gettysburg of the West. Is that what they called it? Yeah, the Gettysburg of the West. So, the Battle of Westport, I'm going to read off a little thing. It's Civil War on the westernborder.org. The Battle of Westport was the largest battle of the Civil War west of the Mississippi River, and one of its most significant. Casualties on both sides were around 1,500 each in killed, wounded, and missing. Numerous historians have called Westport the Gettysburg of the West, but Westport actually proved to be more decisive than Gettysburg. At Gettysburg, Lee's Army of Northern Virginia suffered a sharp defeat, but it retreated in good order and escaped to Virginia as an intact army that continued to fight for almost 2 years. By contrast, Price's army, who was Confederate general, his army of Missouri virtually was disintegrated after Westport. Furthermore, most of the large guerrilla bands in Missouri followed Price into Arkansas, so that Price's raid actually ended bushwhacker and Confederate military activity in the state. Finally, in 1864, in the elections, Price's defeat at Westport helped empower the radical Republicans to the electoral victories in both Missouri and Kansas. So because of Price's failure in Westport, that completely shifted the leadership of Missouri and Kansas. Like, people don't really understand how important the Battle of Westport was. Right. So, but I want to highlight one specific place. I'm sure there were more, but one specific place, the John Warnell House, or John Warnell Historical Museum, because it was a hospital for both the Confederates and the Union soldiers. So it kind of came back and forth. But Kelly, I'm hoping to go to Eureka Springs this summer to Turpentine Creek. If I do, I'm definitely staying at the Crescent. What is Turpentine Creek?
I believe that's that cat, big cat refuge zoo.
Okay, cool. Well, with Kelly's picture as a cat, it makes sense. Makes total sense. But so with this skirmish and with these battles, we had obviously the John Warnell home. Trying to think here. It's
and the Warnell home's actually a pretty well-known haunted place there in Kansas City.
Like, absolutely. It's a very well-known haunted place. So a little bit of the history. It was built in 1958, survived a tumultuous period of history in the region. In the years leading up to the Civil War, the Kansas and Missouri border wars was the site of violent conflict over the issue of slavery in Kansas territory. John Warnell, a slaveholder with family ties to the South, tried to maintain neutrality, but more than once was a subject of violence. This violence continued during the Civil War, and Missouri became increasingly divided. So real quick about, no, not John Warnell. Is it Alexander Majors I'm thinking of? Because Majors is the one that helped. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about him.
That house is awesome, too.
I want to go there. I've never been to either location. I'm from here, and I've never been there. Like, what is wrong with me?
My one time at Alexander Major's house, we had some pretty damn good activity.
Nice. I want to go.
Pretty damn good.
So here's a little bit of the history of the Farmstead Hospital. The culmination of the constant fighting was the Battle of Westport in October 1864. The main part of the battle occurred at present-day Luce Park, which was 1 mile north of the Warnell House. Each side suffered we already talked about that. Makeshift hospitals were set up, including the Warnell House. Confederate soldiers commandeered the house in the morning, destroyed most of the furnishings, and knocked down the banister of the staircase, so that stretchers carrying the wounded could be carried to the second floor as the Confederates retreated. All their wounded who could be moved were taken away, and then the Union used the house for their injured. John Warnell was scripted for the Union Army, but talked his way out of it. However, the fighting began before he could return home, and he watched the battle from the roof of a hotel. Eliza Warnell and her 9 yeah, right? Could you imagine just being on a hotel and just watching people fight? Like, holy crap. Like, That would be like, I would be afraid of a rogue bullet hitting a tree or something and like bouncing. You know what I mean? Or I don't know.
Ricochet.
Yeah, exactly. Eliza Warnell and her 9-year-old son, Frank, remained in their house during the battle. Eliza cooked for the soldiers throughout the day and narrowly escaped injury from the stray cannonball, while Frank witnessed the treatment of the wounded and even cared for the one soldier himself. Shortly after the battle, bushwhackers killed Eliza's father, Reverend Thomas Johnson. The day following the funeral, John received a warning not to return to the farm. His hired hand told him that the night of the funeral, the house was surrounded by bushwhackers who said they'd kill Reverend John and wanted to do the same to John Warnell. The family went back to their house in Kansas City. In this home, Eliza gave birth to her second son, Thomas Johnson, and died a week later. Although the war ended in April 1865, John did not return to live in the country house until 1874, where he returned with his other wife, Roma. So the Hauntings. So soon after the construction of the house, the Civil War began, splitting the nation in two, blah, blah, blah. The home was Field Hospital, which occurred just a few blocks. Many children, so we already read this. So basically saying, so over the years, employees and guests alike have reported countless paranormal experiences. You may just come face to face with a wounded soldier, as the sighting of a full-body apparition of soldiers are pretty common at the place. They are all around the home and have been seen standing guard at the doors and patrolling around the balconies. Neighbors that have been witness to so many spirits wandering around outside the home that vanished into thin air that they have taken odd measures to protect their home. No neighbor hangs crosses on all windows facing the home, while another neighbor whited out their windows. Aside from the reports of ghosts vanishing in the yard, another common occurrence is the mysterious appearance of a strong tobacco smell filling the rooms. Could this be one of the soldiers, John Warnell himself, or other soul that has returned to the historical side of things? There is as well a strong male presence in the home. There's the perhaps more well-known spirit present, that of Eliza Warnell, John's wife, dying in the home shortly after the war broke out. She suffered a traumatic life, struggling to come to terms with the death of her father and 5 of her children.
Wow.
She lost 5 kids. Wow. She died shortly after giving birth to her 7th child at the age of 29. Jesus. I'm 30, and I couldn't imagine being that old, like, experiencing all that. Her restless soul is regularly seen through the house, and her figure is seen roaming the halls and standing in the windows. Noises, voices, and orbs floating on the rocking chair in the children's bedroom have also been seen. One staff member account of the guns hanging in the home being moved, so they aimed at the door. Has to be one of the most frightening of all paranormal activity at the Warnell house. The guns were literally aiming, I guess, at the door. But to me, that's pretty. That'd be scary. But there is more, obviously, details on the Battle of Westport. But all right, just for the sake that we're not getting majorly into history, I do want to show some pictures of it, though, and I know we're just past our time. So this, no, not that one. My photos are not in order here. How shame.
Click, click.
Can you hear all that?
Yeah. Every time you click.
So that is the Warnell house.
That is beautiful.
It is a beautiful place. And then, and now I did have another one, but I'm not going to worry about showing it. Just this main one, honestly, is important. But yeah, Kelly said Wildlife Refuge on that. So it was the tiger place that she was talking about. Cat place. But yeah, that's one of the 3 places that I have to talk about that I'm not going to talk about right now.
Right. Oh, man. No, the Civil War is like my favorite era of our country's time.
Same.
I don't know. There's just something about it. Like, yeah, I granted we had the American Revolution and everything, but I don't know. Like I said, there was something about the time of the Civil War where things really changed. Like, not just the merging of the North and South and stuff like that, and people changing, but like our economy changed, our industry changed.
Yep.
A lot
it
of
shifted
stuff
the
changed.
country like in no way that we have ever seen.
Yeah, it was like dominoes falling. Like it impacted several things that like you wouldn't even suspect it impacted. And
that would have been the perfect time for another country to invade us.
Yeah, right after that.
After or during, either way. Yeah. Because let's say they invaded the North. What soldiers are really going to protect the North from an onslaught of countries from,
England.
People from the other places?
England's like, we want our shit back.
Yeah, like that kind of just makes sense to me. Like, hey, not Missouri, the United States are weak. Let's attack them.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Like, we're kind of seeing it now, but anyways.
Yeah.
Not,
financially,
in other ways, but it's okay. No, I agree with though. There's just something. I agree with you though. There's just something about the Civil War that's so different. Aside from us literally hating each other so much,
right?
That, like brothers, like fighting against each other. They're fighting for the causes that they thought were right.
So much drama,
Yeah.
Just so much drama, and
then you had the assassination of a president.
Yeah.
Like that's man.
Yep.
I'm not saying history repeats itself, but history does tend to repeat itself.
Yeah.
But now it's all government controlled.
True story.
To keep us fighting each other.
All right, guys. I think that's going to cut it for us tonight. Again, apologies for being late. Hopefully that's not going to happen anytime soon again. We'll see. We shall see.
Things happen.
We'll figure something out, a topic out for next week.
Absolutely.
But I think we should keep it ghostly. I kind of want to keep it ghostly.
I do too. I think ghosts are feeling great.
A little spookiness.
A little spooky.
Little spookies.
I got some ectoplasm for your spookiness. What?
Oh no, was that a ghost?
Something, that's for sure.
But keep an eye out on like I said, go find my other channel, the Paratainment Review on YouTube. Subscribe to that.
And just to kind of shout it out too, if you haven't seen Josh Hurd's stuff on his channel, go check him out on YouTube.
I'm actually about to go watch his new video.
He's got some really good videos. Oh, was it the
shadow
attic one? The attic one or the shadow picture?
The one with the shadow picture.
Okay, yeah, I want to watch that one too because I haven't seen that.
It might be the same.
Go check out his channel. He's actually putting out content pretty regularly. Josh is doing great. And if you haven't yet, Austin Spurrier's channel, Elite, is on. He's on TikTok. He's on, I think, YouTube. I think.
Yeah, he's on YouTube.
What is it? EL. What is it? How do you spell it?
Well, hang on, just a second. I'll find it.
Because I don't want to butcher it. There's many different ways you can spell it.
Just go look for Austin Spurrier at Austin Spurrier.
There you go. Look at all. Yeah, go find Austin Spurrier. He's a friend of ours. He does a lot of great investigating with him and his dad, Justin Spurrier. Kids making moves, and I mean Kupsik as well. His con's coming up pretty soon. He's got the Bushcraft Con on the 22nd. So if you're interested in bushcrafting and wildlife survival, April 22nd. It's going to be in Kansas. Where is it? Over by Overland Park and stuff like that. But yeah, I just can't think of the exact place. But check it out.
Definitely. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. And
wait, are we doing After Dark or not?
No, it's a little late to do the After Dark.
Cassie's probably going to be already asleep too.
Yeah. So
I'll
probably put something up on the After Dark. But
okay. There's a video I want to show you. It's like 7 minutes, but
okay. See you guys. Have a good night.